Hello everyone, my name is Solen and I am the writer, director, producer, editor, and camera operator for Faith Prevails, The Miracle of Bolsena. Whew, I got through remembering pretty much all the things I did on the movie. Basically, the movie Faith Prevails, The Miracle of Bolsena was my project for my American Heritage Girls Stars and Stripes project. You'll hear about that a little bit later, but the goal of this video is just to tell you all what inspired this movie, kind of how it all came to be. Since right now, you all have just seen the movie, but you know, there's always a fun little backstory, some behind the scenes. So I'm here to share that with all of you today. But first, let me start off by saying thank you so much for your support of the film. We are sitting at, I think, almost 250,000 views at this point, which is so incredible and such a blessing. When I first had the idea to make this movie, I never would have even dreamed it would reach that many people. And so that is just so huge to me. And just all glory be to God, all praise be to Him for that. So thank you to all of you who have supported the movie. It has really just been an incredible journey, and just watching it grow and touch so many lives has just been so amazing and really only something that God could have orchestrated. So how did this movie come to be? The story kind of goes like this. Many years back, I was about 8 years old, and I attend this parish, Our Lady Star of the Sea. It's my home parish here in Washington State. And every year, on the Feast of Corpus Christi, we would have a Corpus Christi procession, where we take the Eucharist through the streets of our little town here in Bremerton and witness to our Eucharistic and Catholic faith. And as a part of this Corpus Christi procession, we had some other traditions that went along with it, one of them being the Corpus Christi play. This play was a short 15-minute theater production that our pastor wrote about the Eucharistic miracle of Bolsena, which, if you've watched the movie all the way to the end, you would know that this miracle was part of the reason of the institution for the solemnity of the most holy body and blood of Christ. And so the year was 2011, I was 8 years old, and I was participating in this play for the very first time. And I just remember, even with my small little part, I don't think I had very many lines, but even with my small little part, during that miracle scene where the priest holds up the host, I just distinctly remember seeing that host bleeding. And even though I knew that it wasn't real in that moment, it struck me that this is what happens at every single Mass. And since that point, I've always just had a strong belief and conviction in the real presence. Fast forward 9 or 10 years, here I am, well, there I was, about a year ago from today, and I was a part of this organization called American Heritage Girls. So American Heritage Girls is a faith-based leadership and character development program, outdoor activities, ministry, and so there are a lot of different things we do as American Heritage Girls. One of these things being the Stars and Stripes, which is the Pinnacle Award. So AHG's program goes from kindergarten through 12th grade. There's different levels that you go through and different level awards that you can earn, and at the very end, once you've reached kind of like your last years in what they call the Patriot level, you have the opportunity to earn the Pinnacle Award, which is the Stars and Stripes. This is a multifaceted award with many different requirements, the main one being planning and implementing a project that is long-lasting and gives back to a worthy community and utilizes at least 100 volunteer cumulative hours. And a big emphasis is placed on finding a project where you will be able to use your God-given skills and talents to put together something for the community that will be of benefit and of service to them. So finally, when the opportunity for me to earn the Stars and Stripes came around, I was just praying and wondering and brainstorming what I would do for my Stars and Stripes project. And one thing that just kept popping up was this little play that our pastor had written. The reason this idea was so intriguing to me was because I have participated in theater ever since pretty much that time I was in that first Corpus Christi play. I did community theater growing up, and I've always kind of enjoyed being on stage. I mean, only certain types of people don't get stage fright, but I definitely enjoyed being on stage, being in front of a group of people, presenting, and these were skills I developed through AHG over the years as well. The only problem with a play is the fact that it's not long lasting. You put on a play, you do it once, and that's just a show, and that's it. And one of the requirements of the project is that it has to be long lasting. So that kind of got my wheels turning. And I realized, hey, one of my passions then, and also like still now today, is making videos and working with a camera. I had been doing YouTube at the time for about 3 years, making educational pet videos. And so I thought to myself, what if I combined that whole theater play thing with the whole video production, digital media thing, and made that Eucharistic miracle play into a movie? Because a movie is digital media. It can last forever. And so once I had considered it, I said, you know what, this is what I'm gonna attempt to do. Not really realizing the amount of work that actually goes into making a film, because you must know, I have never made a film. This is my only film that I have ever made. And so I didn't really realize the scope and scale of this project. I definitely grew a lot through it. There were a lot of challenges along the way. One of them being the fact that it was so difficult to find an actor for our father, Peter. So this was gonna be a major role in the film, obviously. The plot kind of revolves around him, and essentially what we had were open auditions at our parish. So you could say that while our talent pool wasn't limited, it certainly wasn't very broad. And so when time came for auditions, we weren't just getting anyone who really fit the role of Father Peter, or even really that demographic of young men in general. But by the grace of the Holy Spirit, we found someone, and that someone is Father Kyle Poggi, at that point, Deacon Kyle Poggi. And this was incredibly special to have him in this role, because not only was he so willing to take on this role and also available to take on this role, he was also a seminarian, and at the time, transitional deacon, being ordained for the priesthood. So he was already on track for this vocation. And so for him to actually play the priest in our movie was just so incredible. Now the icing on the cake of this is that he was actually studying in Rome. If you didn't know, this miracle happened in Italy, and so some of the establishing shots that you see in the movie were actually taken by him. It wasn't just stock footage. So some of that footage was actually recorded in Italy, which is incredible because obviously we didn't have the budget to fly out our cast and crew there. So everything was filmed in the Pacific Northwest area, with the exception of those shots in Italy. But that was just one way that God really opened doors for us in this project. And it was just so incredible seeing it come together, even through all the struggles and through all the challenges. Ultimately, over 1,800 cumulative volunteer service hours went into the making of this project, 500 of them being on my own. So it's pretty safe to say we blew past the 100-hour volunteer requirement for the Stars and Stripes. We had an amazing team of volunteers, a cast and crew of 20 plus with a core group of like 6 people that were just amazing to work with on this project. It was such a blessing to have this amazing group of people. You all know who you are. Thank you so much to all of you who participated to make this film happen. And now at this point, we're here. The film has 250,000 views. People from all over the world are seeing this. You just look through the comments and you see these testimonies of people, and it's so, so beautiful, because I will tell you, at the beginning of this project, when I was first starting to plan everything out and starting to realize how big of an undertaking this was gonna be, I wasn't totally sure it would be worth it. I didn't know how this was going to impact people. But now, hindsight being 2020, I can see that it was such a blessing, and that the fruit that's coming of it is just so beautiful. And I can really say that this is not my project, but this was truly God's project, and the project of a community, because there were so many people cheering us on, supporting us, working on the project, putting in the hours and the work in order to make this happen. And remember, when you watch this film, this was all made by people who truly love the Eucharist and who wanted to see this vision come to life. Like, no one was a professional. We all were figuring out what we were doing along the way, but I think with the guidance of the Holy Spirit, we have the product that is Faith Prevails, the Miracle Bolsena, which is, oh my goodness, God is so good. So that is pretty much the story of how Faith Prevails, the Miracle of Bolsena came to be. Let me know in the comments if you had any other specific questions or things you'd like to answer. Just let me know. I know this video has been a long time coming. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more content, all the good YouTube things. So we will see what God has planned for the future, but in the meantime, thank you for joining me today, for hearing my story, and I hope you all have a very blessed day. Bye!